the Thornton water treatment plant. This is the main water supply for Woodstock. It treats up to 520 liters a second. There's 7 wells that feed into the plant. This is the main source of water. A lot of it's swamplands, so it gets natural filtration through the ground, and wells pump it into the treatment plant. This reservoir was put in the late 1800s. The spring water would come up through this reservoir. There's some baffles in there to take sediment out, and then what would overflow would be a little cleaner, and then it would go through those valves over there and through gravity be transported down to Southside Park, where the original pumping station was. They used steam pumps to pump it up to Bower Hill, which was installed in the mid-1910s. In 1945, they started drilling wells so that the water was a little bit more safe to drink. Because it's coming from the ground, it's not exposed to the surface water, which can be more easily contaminated. This is well 1. It was drilled in 1945. It can pump up to 105 liters a second, so as far as wells go, it's a good producer. As you can see right now, it's actually overflowing, so this is what we call an artesian well. The water table's higher at some point than we are right now, so water's flowing through the casing and up through the pump, and it's overflowing right here over in the stream. So here we have well 1. This is the motor here. It spins up to 30 times a second, which spins the shaft, which operates the pump, which is about 70 feet below us. As I said before, it can pump up to 105 liters a second. So I've actually got a little bottle here that show you that's 1 liter, so 105 of these per second. We have a turbidity analyzer here that measures the clarity of the water, so anything below, say, 0.5 is a pretty good well. As you can see right now, it's at about 0.04, so it's really clean water. It's a good indication of how well the filtration in this area works. So as it's going through the soil, it's collecting all the particles, and we're getting a really pure source of water. We're inside the plant right now, and this is where the 7 wells come in. We have UV treatment first. So what happens is there's 6 bulbs inside of these reactors. They sit inside of sleeves, and they basically shine really highly concentrated UV light at the water, which kills any bacteria, viruses, protozoa, that sort of thing that might be in the water. So this is a burnt out lamp that was in operation here. So inside of these reactors, the bulbs or the lamps go inside of these sleeves. The sleeves keep the water from actually coming in contact with the UV, but these shine really highly concentrated UV light, which kills any microorganisms. So after the UV treatment, we dose the water with chlorine. We use chlorine because it, unlike UV, it will stay in the water throughout the distribution system, so that when it arrives at people's taps, it's still disinfected. So we try to use approximately 1 part per million of chlorine in the water. Anything under 4 parts per million is considered safe to drink. We have to keep a minimum of 0.05 parts per million in the distribution system. So if we have it dosed at about 1 part per million, it seems to last throughout the pipes in the city. This is our standpipe. After the water gets chlorinated, we need a sufficient amount of time for the chlorine to disinfect the water. So it's usually about 15 minutes. So the water comes in here in a pipe inside, elevated, and then it works its way down through the standpipe. And by the time it gets to discharge, it should be sufficiently chlorinated and disinfected. So after the standpipe, the water is considered to be treated. So we have 5 high-lift pumps that pump the water into Woodstock. We actually have 2 separate water mains that take it there. That way, if one breaks or one's down for maintenance, we still have the other one, and we can keep a sufficient amount of water heading towards the city. All right, so now we're at the end of the plant. Underneath me is 2 water mains, the 2 water mains that are heading into Woodstock. To my left is the chlorine analyzers for both of them and the turbidity analyzers for both of them. So we're just making sure that there's sufficient chlorine and that there's no dirty water heading that way. If there is low chlorine or high turbidity, we will the plant will automatically shut down, and we'll come figure out what's going on and make the necessary adjustments. This is the overview of Woodstock's water system. This is Thornton's just one of the 4 treatment plants that we have, although it is the biggest one. There's 7 wells that feed into it, and 4 for the rest of them. We have our main storage water reservoir, which is Bower Hill. All the treatment plants operate off of its level, so it starts when it hits 75%, stops when it hits 95%. It's an elevated tank, so even when all the treatment plants are off, it still feeds water in the system, keeps pressure on the system through gravity.